Disclaimer. The following analysis was recorded before episodes 16 and 17 of Duel Arena were released. All information in this analysis was based on what was known at the time. Now, on with the show.
Hikari versus the Emissary. The leader of a rebel group versus a messenger making contact with the human race.
No, okay, I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's fucking space aliens!
Well, technically they're not aliens, they are considered extra-dimensional beings, but screw it, aliens. Just makes things easier to say.
Also, this video was requested by Man Mike Sports TV before I forget.
Now, to set the stage, Valtor has taken over the world, and his word is law. However, rebel groups still exist, one of which is run by Hikari, a graduate from Post-duel Academy, who was smart enough to grab everyone he could and run at the first sign of trouble. And few things scream trouble louder than a man broadcasting himself on every device everywhere and making a simple command.
Acknowledge me!
Hikari and his group manage to set up camp in a mountain range, but since they're off the grid, food and medical supplies are hard to come by. Hikari gets a lucky breakthrough and is able to find an abandoned medical facility. Since he is the leader and the strongest of the group, he goes alone and comes across a medical bag full of supplies. And, arriving in a flash of light, the alien. The alien calls itself the Emissary and says its people have been trying to contact humanity for a long time, but has only now ever succeeded. Hikari basically says, "That's nice and all, but I should get going." Unfortunately, the Emissary reveals the flash of light it arrived in was also a barrier being put up around the facility, and there's only one way to get out. Beat the Emissary in a duel. Will Hikari escape, or will he become a prisoner of the Order of Eternity? There's only one way to find out. Let's quit our stalling and get brawling. The duel begins and Hikari goes first. He draws, and his open hand consists of Justice Bringer, Sonic Stun, DD Sprite, Countergate, Tech Genius Warwolf, and Jump Synchron. He decides to start cautiously since he has no idea what the Emissary is capable of. He simply summons Justice Bringer in attack mode, sets his Sonic Stun face down, and ends his turn. It's the Emissary's turn. It draws, and its opening hand consists of Emergency Teleport, Hushed Psychic Cleric, Telepathic Power, Premature Burial, Psychic Commander, and Psychic Overload. It starts by summoning Hushed Psychic Cleric in defense mode. It then activates the quick play spell card Emergency Teleport, meaning it can supposed to summon one level 3 or lower Psychic monster from its hand or deck, but that monster is banished during the end phase. It special summons Krebons. It then has level 2 Krebons tuned to level 3 Hushed Psychic Cleric to synchro summon level 5 Magical Android in attack mode. Magical Android is then ordered to attack Justice Bringer. However, Hikari activates his trap card Sonic Stun. Now the attack is negated, then Hikari can explode summon a Tech Genius monster or a level 4 or lower tuner monster from his hand or deck. So he special summons level 3 tuner monster Trust Guardian. The Emissary then sets Telepathic Power face down and ends its turn. Now normally Magical Android would give the Emissary 600 life points during the end phase, but since it's a special summon monster attempting to activate its effect once per turn, Justice Bringer can negate its effect, which it does. It's Hikari's turn. He draws and gets Reborn Tengu. He immediately decides to go Synchro for Synchro. He has his level 3 Trust Guardian, tune his level 4 Justice Bringer to Synchro summon level 7.
Arise! Scrap! Archfiend!
He orders Scrap Archfiend to attack Magical Android. Magical Android is destroyed, and the Emissary takes 300 damage. The Emissary then activates the trap card Telepathic Power. Since a Psychic monster was destroyed in battle, the Emissary can target one of the opponent's monsters, destroy it, and then gain life points equal to that monster's attack points. Scrap Archfiend is destroyed, and the Emissary gains 2,700 life points. Fortunately, Hikari had planned for something like that to happen. During the second main phase, he normal summons his Reborn Tengu to the field. He then banishes it in order to special summon the tutor monster DD Sprite from his hand. Next, since Tengu left the field, Hikari can, and does, special summon a second copy of it from his deck. He then has his level 1 Sprite tune his level 4 Tengu to synchro summon the level 5 Tech Genius Hyper Librarian. The second Tengu's effect then activates, special summoning the third copy from his deck in defense mode. Finally, he sets Countergate face down and ends his turn. Now I would call it a misplay that he didn't do that combo during his first main phase, or set the Countergate on his first turn, but it was made clear that Hikari was dueling more cautiously. And as far as he knows, that face down card could be a Mirror Force, or some broken custom card like a Mirror Force that also heavy storms and card destruction to your opponents. I know Duel Arena Season 1 doesn't have any custom cards, but it is still the Revelations universe, and they have some insanely busted cards. So, he's probably on the lookout for those. Besides, it's only obvious that he could have done all this stuff in hindsight. At the time, Hikari didn't know, so I'm not going to call it a misplay. He was thinking further ahead, and it clearly benefited him in the end, so yeah, no misplay. It's the Emissary's turn. It draws against the Black Horn of Heaven. It starts by activating the quick spell card, Premature Burial. By paying 800 life points, it can revive a monster from its graveyard and equip it to this card. So it brings back Magical Android. Next it normal summons Psychic Commander. Then has level 3 Psychic Commander tune the level 5 Magical Android to synchro summon the level 8 Thought Ruler Archfiend. Though because the synchro summon occurred, Hyper Librarian lets Hikari draw 1 card, and he gets Solar Windjammer. Thought Ruler then attacks Hyper Librarian, dealing 300 points of damage to Hikari. Thought Ruler's effect kicks in. Since it destroyed a monster by battle, the Emissary gains life points and the destroyed monster's attack points. So the Emissary gains 2,400 life points, making its life points 8,000. The Emissary then sends Second Overload and Black Horn of Heaven face down and ends its turn. Why did it wait to send its trap cards? Fear of Heavy Storm, we'll just use that excuse again, it makes sense. It's Hikari's turn. He draws and gets Effect Veiler. First, during the standby phase, the Reborn Tengu he banished with DD Sprite returns to the field. He then normal summons his Effect Veiler. He then tunes his level 1 Effect Veiler with his 2 level 4 Reborn Tengus to synchro summon the level 9 Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. But the moment it's summoned, the Emissary reveals its counter trap, the Black Horn of Heaven. Because Hikari special summon exactly 1 monster, this card negates the special summon and destroys that monster, meaning Trishula freezes over. With no other moves left to make, Hikari's force ends his turn. Why didn't he special summon the Solar Windjammer in his hand with its effect? Well, I imagine it's because he has his countergate face down, so he can block at least 1 direct attack all by himself. Plus he didn't want to give the Emissary more life points. Also, he probably just wanted to save the Solar Windjammer for a combo he's going to do later. So, questionable decision, but I can see the logic, so we'll just continue. It's the Emissary's turn. It draws and gets Psychic Snail. It starts by activating his face down Psychic Overload. Now it can shuffle 3 Psychic monsters in its grave back to its deck to draw 2 cards. It returns Hush Psychic Cleric, Prebons, and Psychic Commander to the deck, shuffles, then draws Mind Master and Assault Mode activates. Next, it normal summons the Psychic Snail. It then uses Snail's effect. By paying 800 life points, it can select 1 other face-up psychic monster the Emissary controls, in this case Thought Ruler, and that monster can make 2 attacks this turn. But Snail cannot attack for the rest of the turn. Thought Ruler makes its first attack, attacking directly. In response, Hikari reveals his face-down card, Countergate. Since he was attacked directly, this negates the attack and lets Hikari draw 1 card. If it's a monster, he can immediately normal summon said monster in attack mode. Hikari draws and gets Top Runner, which he immediately summons. Thought Ruler makes its second attack, attacking and destroying Top Runner. Hikari takes 1,600 damage, while the Emissary gains 1,100 life points. The Emissary then sets Assault Mode activate face down and ends its turn. It's Hikari's turn. He draws and gets Monster Reborn. First, since he controls no monsters, he can special summon the Solar Windjammer from his hand, though its attack and defense points are cut in half.
Which is something they forgot when showing the defense points on screen, so whoops.
Next, he uses the magic of Monster Reborn to revive a monster from his graveyard. So he brings back Tech Genius Hyper Librarian. After that, he normal summons Junk Synchron, and with Junk Synchron's effect, he can revive a level 2 or lower monster from his graveyard in defense mode with its effects negated. So he revives his DD Sprite. Next, since a level 4 or lower monster was special summoned, Hikari can special summon the Tech Genius Warwolf from his hand. Finally, we can begin the synchro summoning. He begins by having the level 1 DD Sprite tune his level 5 Solar Windjammer to synchro summon the level 6 Iron Chain Dragon in attack mode. Hyper Librarian's effect goes off, letting Hikari draw 1 card, which is Foolish Burial. He then uses Foolish Burial to send Quivoed Hedgehog straight to his graveyard. It won't be there for long though, as he uses its effect. Since he controls a tuner monster, he can special summon it from his graveyard, though it's banished when it leaves the field.
Hikari then has his level 3 Junk Synchron tune his level 3 Warwolf and level 2 Hedgehog to synchro summon his level 8 Scrap Dragon. Finally, Librarian lets him draw one more card, which is Fiendish Chain. Hikari then enters his battle phase and orders Scrap Dragon to attack Thought Ruler Archfiend. It's destroyed,
And the Emissary takes 100 points of damage.
Hyper Librarian then attacks Psychic Snail and deals another 500 points of damage. And then Iron Chain Dragon attacks directly, dealing 2,500 points of damage to the Emissary. Iron Chain Dragon's effect then activates. Because it dealt battle damage, the Emissary must send the top 3 cards of its deck to the graveyard. It nails Overdrive Teleporter, Attack Guidance Armor, and Psychic Jumper. Finally, Hikari sets Fiendish Chain and Hope for Escape face down, and ends his turn. And we're back to the Soul Chestnut. He had an extra card in his hand. He started the duel with 6 cards. -1 for summoning Justice Bringer, -1 for setting Sonic Stun, +1 for draw, -1 for summoning Reborn Tengu, -1 for summoning DD Sprite, -1 for setting Counter Gate, +1 when Hyper Librarian let him draw 1 card with its effect, +1 for his draw phase, -1 for summoning Effect Failure. Counter Gate made him card neutral, so we won't count it. +1 for draw phase, -1 for summoning Solar Windjammer, -1 for using Monster Reborn, -1 for summoning Junk Synchron, -1 for setting Warwolf, +1 with Librarian's effect, -1 to activate Foolish Burial, +1 with Librarian again, and now he's setting 2 cards face down. But it's fine. There's a lot of drawing cards throughout this duel, so it's easy to lose track. No biggie. It's the Emissary's turn.
And the penultimate turn of the duel.
It draws and gets Monster Reborn. It activates it, reviving the Thought Ruler Archfiend. It then normal summons a level 1 tuner monster, Mind Master. Then, the level 1 Mind Master tunes the level 8 Thought Ruler Archfiend.
Synchro Summon. Level 9. Hyper Psychic Blaster.
Hikari draws 1 card off the Librarian's effect though, and he gets Hanawada. The Emissary orders Hyper Psychic Blaster to attack Scrap Dragon, but Hikari chains, revealing his face down continuous trap, Fiendish Chain. He equips it onto Psychic Blaster, and now it can no longer attack nor use its effects. Unfortunately for Hikari though, the Emissary planned for that contingency too, as it revealed its face down card, Assault Mode activates. Now, the Emissary can tribute a Synchro monster it controls in order to special summon that monster's Assault Mode version from its deck in attack position. So it tributes the Hyper Psychic Blaster to special summon Hyper Psychic Blaster, Assault Mode! And since the Assault Mode version isn't bound by Fiendish Chain, it attacks and destroys Scrap Dragon, dealing 700 points of damage to Hikari.
Knocking him down to 1,400 life points.
Now, Psychic Blaster Assault Mode's effect activates. After attacks, at the end of the damage step, Hikari takes damage equal to the attacked monster's defense points, while the Emissary gains life points equal to the attacked monster's attack points. Or in other words, this monster's effects are... Before the damage can be inflicted though, Hikari uses the effect of the Hanawada in his hand. By discarding it to the graveyard, he takes no effect damage for the rest of this turn. The other effect of Psychic Blaster Assault Mode still goes through though, so the Emissary gains 2,800 life points.
Boosting the Emissary back up to 8,000 life points.
The Emissary ends its turn with that. It's Hikari's turn.
And the final turn of the duel.
He draws and gets Synchro Blast Wave. He activates it, which lets him destroy 1 monster the opponent controls because he controls a Synchro monster. He destroys Hyper Psychic Blaster, Assault Mode. But the Assault Mode version's last effect activates. Because it was destroyed, the Emissary can revive the original Hyper Psychic Blaster from its graveyard. Which it does, summoning it in attack position. Hikari isn't bothered by this though, as he activates his trap card, Hope for Escape. After paying 1,000 life points, he can draw 1 card for every 2,000 points of difference in the life points between him and the Emissary. Since the difference is 7,600, he draws 3 new cards, which are Debris Dragon, Megamorph, and an unknown card. This last card will never be seen or used. It's kind of funny though how a couple turns ago, he had an extra card in his hand that he didn't draw, and now he has an extra card in his hand that he doesn't use. Funny that, but I have to give the mysterious card an identity. Let's just say it's Shadow Impulse. He uses it back in episode 3 in his debut duel, and it's a trap card, so yeah, that's just my theory. Anyway, he normal summons Debris Dragon, and when it's normal summoned, Hikari can revive a monster from his graveyard. with 500 attack or less in attack position, with its effects negated. He revives the tuner monster, Hanawata. He then has the level 1 Hanawata tunes level 5 Tech Genius Hyper Librarian to synchro summon the level 6 Orient Dragon. Orient Dragon's effect activates. Since it was synchro summoned, it can target and banish one synchro monster the opponent controls, so Hyper Psychic Blaster gets banished. The Emissary is flabbergasted by this unpredictable chain of events, but it's not too worried, since it still has 8,000 life points remaining. But Hikari wasn't done yet, because he equips Iron Chain Dragon with the equipped spell card Mega Morph. And because Hikari's life points are lower than the Emissary's, Iron Chain Dragon's attack points are doubled, giving it 5,000 attack points. Hikari then has all 3 of his dragons attack directly, dealing a Grand Slam total of 8,300 points of damage to the Emissary, winning the duel, sending the Emissary back to its homeworld, and letting Hikari go free. So could the Emissary have defeated Hikari? Simply put, no. See, it's a point made in the duel that the Emissary saw all of Hikari's moves coming. Heck, the only move it didn't see coming was when Hikari used Hope for Escape, which, as established, he shouldn't have had in his hand to begin with, so it's totally reasonable for the Emissary to not expect that. As for Hikari, I think he dueled in a very impressive way, playing in case the Emissary nuked his board, having outs to the Emissary at all times, like capitalizing on Emissary being a synchro duelist, and using cards like Orient Dragon and Hyper Librarian. It goes to show how smart Hikari is as a duelist, and how smart and dangerous the Order of Eternity are to have a plan for almost every scenario. It's a shame that Hikari basically had to cheat to win, but in these settings it's basically cheat or die, so I totally get why he did what he did. It's just funny to me how he ends the duel with an extra card in his hand, like it's to make up for the extra card he had earlier. Just funny, you know? And yeah, despite all that, I really do like Hikari as a person, and I hope that only good things come in his future. Anyway, what do you all think? Did you see an opening that I missed? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!